Hey guys, it's Ryan with DP Marketing.Services. I'm up here in the corner, except for this guy, he's not. But yeah, for me, I'm in the corner. I'm here with Robert with RC's Plumbing. He's had a killer couple of months, and we've only been working together for just a few months. But I thought you guys had a really neat story. And full disclosure to anyone watching this now, we actually tried to record this like last week, and I was an idiot and forgot to record the audio. So this is like take 2. But it's not this guy's fault. It's mine.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about computers. That's
so yeah, man. Tell the guys watching this. I'm gonna turn up the volume just to make sure. Tell the guys watching like who you are, what you guys do, because you're in Austin, Texas. Yeah, tell us a bit about your story of where you got there.
I'm Robert with RC's Plumbing Company. Justin is not here today. He's my business partner. He's also a plumber. So right now it's just the two of us and an apprentice, and we're just trying to take the world by storm, trying to take Austin by storm first. But we started this company about 2 years ago, and we had some success. Mainly we had some pitfalls whenever it came to marketing. We couldn't find a good marketing company to take care of us, so we were kind of using Home Advisor just to get by for a really long time, and some Angie's List stuff. And once we got linked up with Ryan, our online presence started booming almost right away. I think whenever we first started working together, I think it was in December, we didn't even have access to my business account.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And then I think we're at 25 reviews then on Google. And now we have, I think I just checked, we have 96 Google reviews.
96 reviews, and like that's like in just a couple of months.
Yeah, in 3 months, or 2 months. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty astonishing.
So last year, you had some struggles. Like you were doing some really big projects.
Yeah, we were doing some bigger commercial projects because that's where Justin and I really came up, was doing commercial work. So we love doing commercial work, and but we didn't really have the business savvy to deal with these big corporations that were hiring us, and they wouldn't pay us. So now we have to find other ways to get our money. But we decided to just really stick to residential work, because dealing one-on-one with the customer is a lot easier than dealing one-on-one with a project manager who has to then go to his superintendent, who has to go to this guy, who has to go to this guy, who has to get us paid. So it's a lot easier just walking into a house saying, okay, you need a water heater repair, let's do it. We knock it out and we get paid.
Yeah, that time to cash is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a real big deal. And I think we finally got our pricing down. We were working really hard on trying to figure out how to price things. And some things we still do on T&M, but we flat rate a lot of things now too. And it really depends on the customer. I mean, some customers are real picky about stuff. So, I mean, we're customer service first. So, I mean, even if we're not going to make as much money off of one job, at least we got the job.
Right.
I would much rather close 90% of my jobs and be a little bit lower priced than close 40% of my jobs and be the highest priced.
Yeah, it's interesting because knowing your prices, knowing how to price your services, that's something that a lot of guys struggle with.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really common thing, and so they look for different books, and
what I think it is I think if you're a really, really good plumber, then you're just used to being a really, really good plumber. You're not used to being a really, really good salesman.
Right.
So that's where we had an issue was we were really good plumbers, but we weren't the best salesmen on the planet. We weren't the best with the business aspect of it. So now that we've learned all that over the past 2 years, it's getting a little bit better. But usually the guys that like right away, they know all the prices, but they don't know how to do the jobs. So we kind of did it the other way, where we knew how to do the jobs, we just didn't know how to do the pricing. But now we figured it all out.
So I'm curious. So now that you have like a kind of a grasp on pricing, a grasp on customer service, like what, in your opinion, what do you guys think is the most important thing to really being able to have a good, healthy business? You know, cash flow, get leads, run the jobs. Like what is it that you think is the most important?
Customer service. Yeah, because I mean, you can have great cash flow for a while, and you can have, I mean, you can get a new customer every single day, but having repeat business in a market like this is extremely important, because if you go to every single job with the intention of taking as much money as possible, but never having any repeat business, I mean, you're not going to stay in business forever. Like with mentality like that, you have to be customer service first, and then the money will come.
Right.
I guarantee you, the money will come. I mean,
have you noticed much in the way of repeat customers yet? Referral customers?
Oh, yeah. We get, I would say about probably 60% of our business is repeat.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, if you're slow as far as your online marketing and everything else is concerned, then at least you got these people calling you back saying, hey, my toilet's crapping out, can you come repair that? Or, hey, my water heater just blew out, you did a really good job on this, can you come out here and do this? And yeah, I mean, like today we went and did a water heater earlier this morning, and it was at a business, it was at a bar here in Austin, and the owner said, hey, you did a really good job. And he said, you're a little more expensive than the other two guys that I called, but you came out today, you did a really good job, you brought everything up to code, and these other guys, they weren't going to bring anything up to code, they were just going to do a hot swap. So I think that knowing the laws in your area and bringing everything up to code, talking to your customers, let them know, yeah, I'm a little more expensive, but I have to do all this extra work that the other guy wasn't going to do.
Right.
So,
and I think that's the value, right? Because
yeah,
and a lot of people. So, you think most stay-at-home moms or whatever, like they don't know what it costs and the work required to do something. Yes. Let's pretend that they go, I can go up to the local hardware store and buy that part for $20 or whatever it is, right? They don't understand what you know.
Yeah, and they don't understand like having quality material versus having Home Depot material. I mean, Home Depot material is garbage, and every plumber knows that you don't go to Home Depot to shop plumbing supplies. You go to some plumbing supply house because they're going to have superior products. Instead of going to Home Depot and getting Nibco ProPress fittings, you go to Ferguson and you get Viego.
Right.
It's just it's a far superior product, and whenever I tell my customers, I say, look, everything that I buy is top quality. That's why I'm not giving you Home Depot pricing, because I pay a little bit more for this. But if you go to Home Depot and get it, or if I go to the supply house and get it, I know that this is going to be under warranty, whereas if I go to Home Depot, I really don't know if it's going to be under warranty. That way I can give you a greater warranty. And I warranty everything. I mean, if we go out and do a toilet repair, I'm going to warranty it for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever. And that's another selling point that people don't understand is if you want to be priced a little bit higher, then give them a little bit extra incentive, give them some warranty, give them this, that, and the other, so that they feel like they're not just being ripped off. It's like, well, right. I mean,
right.
If the value is the same for you and another company, and you're charging $2,200 and they're charging $1,300, then you have to match that value with something. Wearing boot covers. If you pull a toilet, put it on a trash
bag. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But like I was saying, yeah. So if you're going to be priced higher than somebody else in the market, because everybody's looking for the cheapest guy on the market, they don't know any better. They don't know that for this extra money, you're going to get this extra value. So you got to explain it to your customers and be like, hey, the other guy said that he was not going to give you a warranty, or he was only going to give you a 1-year warranty or whatever. With my company, you're going to get a 6-year warranty. We're going to wear boot covers in your house.
Yeah.
Whenever we pull your toilets, or if we do something like that, we have drop cloths. We have those big heavy duty trash bags. So we're not setting it on the floor. I mean, there's things that bring value, and they're worth the extra $300-$400 that they'd be paying you as opposed to paying somebody else.
Yeah, and let's be honest, booties for your shoes are cheap.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
mean? I just through Ace Industrial Supply or whatever, they call me once a month and send me like Sawzall blades for half the price that you would get them anywhere else. And I just bought a whole pallet of booties for like $1,400, but it'll last us the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I bought a whole pallet.
That's crazy.
I think there was like 170 boxes or something, and in each box there's four units, which would be smaller boxes, and then in each one of those there's like 80 boot covers.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we just got like 20,000 boot covers.
So
but, I mean,
with the zombie apocalypse, you are good to go.
Yeah.
What? So you've seen in a pretty short window, like you've seen a nice bump in your Google reviews, right? Like you're sitting 20, 30-ish for a while.
Yeah. For like 2 years, we were sitting at 20 or 30.
What has it been like? Like, what sort of impact have you noticed the reviews having on your business, if at all?
Oh, huge impact. Because I mean, if you look at all these other companies, they got, let's say they have 140 reviews in total, but only a 4.7 or 4.5 rating. We have a 5.0 rating, and we're almost at 100 reviews. So people call us all the time and they say, hey, we found you on Google. Your reviews are amazing. We don't want anybody else to do the work. We just want you.
Yeah. It also makes, to be honest, it makes your price point a little bit easier to sell.
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
I was talking like we're priced so high. We're really not priced. Yeah, we're really not priced that high. So, I mean, the selling point is really in our price as well, because I mean, we're really not priced that high.
Right.
I mean, we flat rate our water heater replacements at like $1,400, and a lot of people flat rate their water heater replacements at like $3,200. So, I mean, we're half of what the bigger companies in Austin are charging, but we're still getting every single job that we go to. Every single time we go to a job, we're selling those jobs.
Right.
And a lot of it does have to do with our Google reviews, because people are like, oh man, you got all these great Google reviews. You guys are clean cut. You guys look nice. You guys are very polite, respectful. I mean, and I was really worried about it because Justin and I are both pretty heavily tattooed. So going into people's houses, like, I didn't know what kind of reaction we were going to get at the beginning, because a lot of people don't like tattoos still. So,
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never had anybody complain about my tattoos or Justin's tattoos. We get compliments regularly on them. So that fear that was in my mind originally is kind of out the window. I mean, as long as you're polite, courteous, and do a really good job every single time, and you don't cut any corners, you're going to get 5-star reviews all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we get a 5-star review on almost, I would say about half of every single job that we go to. I think about half of them we get 5-star reviews.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On some platform. I mean, be it Home Advisor, Google,
Yeah.
Nearby Now. I mean, Nearby Now has really been awesome for us, because it's so much easier just to send them a review link rather than be like, hey, if you don't mind, would you go on our Google page and
Google it.
Go through all this legwork to give us a review. Instead, I'm just like, hey, if you don't mind leaving us a review, it's already in your text box or your email or whatever. Just anytime, if you have time today or whatever, would you please just leave us a review? And then, they just keep on typing them up.
And you've done a great job with it. And Nearby Now, to be fair, it has its flaws, but it's really good for making it easy for the customer.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I don't understand about Nearby Now still, and we've been dealing with Nearby Now for like 3 months now, but there's still a lot of questions that I have, and of course, I mean, whenever I talk to you, you normally answer, but
Normally.
well, I mean, I don't always ask the questions.
There it is. Okay.
It's not your fault. It's mine.
So what's it? So, and I don't want to get this about marketing, because I think it's interesting about you guys, because you guys just came out of your biggest month ever. Like,
yeah.
Like, so last month you had a 6-figure month.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, we've done 6-figure months in the past, but it wasn't just plumbing. Like it would be the plumbing and then all the investments and like we were trying to get money coming in from everywhere. And once we just settled down and focused on the plumbing, we were like, okay, we're just going to focus on plumbing. Boom. 6-figure month right away. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting though, because we first spoke, I think in December. And I remember one of the things you saying, like, we haven't ran a single call yet. It was like in the middle of December.
Mhm.
And I was like, what?
I think we've done maybe 3 or 4, but it wasn't many.
Yeah, and I was like, how? What?
Yeah, yeah,
And just a few months later, you went from a pretty crappy, awful month
yes,
to like a
yeah,
6-figure. I mean, that's huge.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty unbelievable, and I mean, we're still getting. Like last time we did this video conference, whenever the sound wasn't on or whatever, my phone rang 4 times during that last interview, and they were all calls. Whenever we got off of
Yeah.
I called all those people back, and I sold 4 jobs in a row. It's just, yeah, we are getting probably I would say across the board, Home Advisor, Angie's List, Google, everywhere, we're probably getting about 30 calls a day.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, and I only see it getting better from here. I don't see it getting any worse. And I mean, you've done a really good job. Like, that's why I told you the other day. I said we're in this together. I mean, we're partners in this, and I'm really, really grateful to have somebody like you on board, helping our company make it to the next level, and then to the next level, and to the next level.
And I speak for everyone here because we like working with people like you because it really is a partnership, right? Like we can do the website, we can do the SEO, and we can do stuff on Facebook. But if you go out and you do crappy service, nothing matters.
Exactly.
You know, and so you guys have to step up. You guys have to run the calls. You guys have to do a good job, and you're doing it.
Yeah, my biggest thing with Justin and myself is we don't do the whole schedule it for tomorrow thing. We schedule everything right this minute. Like if we get a call, we schedule it for right now. We'll be there in 30 minutes because we just want to sell every single job.
Yeah.
And if we get a call from somebody and they're like, hey, we got a leak or whatever, and we're like, oh, okay, well we're going home for the day. Can we schedule it for tomorrow? No, we're going to schedule it right now. We're going to get out there. We're going to do the job. Because if we wait until tomorrow, they're going to find somebody else that was willing to come.
So I'm curious, if you were to go back in time and think about maybe talking to you a year ago, right? So imagine you watching this video right now a year ago. What are 2 or 3 things of advice you would tell yourself then that you wish you knew then?
If it was 6 months ago, I would have probably said fire all your SEO companies that are working for you right now and go to DP. go call Ryan right now. Because I mean, if we would have called you 6 months before we called you originally, we would be so much farther along right now. I mean, it's right now we're kind of in limbo. We're in the waiting game for the SEO to really kick off.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see that happening before probably May or June.
Yeah, probably not. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, SEO, according to Google, takes like between 4 and 12 months to actually see some of the work start paying off. In your case, you're interesting because you're in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we're in a huge metro.
But previously they were in Houston, Texas, which is a couple hours away, another massive metro. And so there was a lot of like confusion on Google going like, I don't know where you are.
Yes.
So there's probably six weeks or so on our end of just trying to clean up stuff.
Yeah. Undo the messes that everybody else that I had hired prior had made.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it's SEO does take time, but yeah, especially in a nice market like Austin or even Houston. I mean, those gains get very, very good.
Yeah, and I'm really, if I were talking to somebody that is just now, like they're in their startup process, like they got $2,000 in the bank or $3,000 in the bank and they're working off a Home Advisor right now, I would call a plumbing and HVAC specialist. Like don't go with a marketing company that markets for gas stations or that markets for clothing and apparel or whatever, because they may be really, really good at marketing for other things, but whenever it comes to the trades, especially plumbing, from what I've noticed, there are certain things that you have to know going into it as a marketer that, I mean, these other companies that they were high rated 5-star companies on Google, but they just didn't really understand how to market and do everything on the internet for plumbing.
And and to not throw those guys under the bus. We had to go through a similar learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Of when we started, our focus is like Main Street small businesses. So anything you think of like on a main street, like restaurants and chiropractors and bakeries and self-storage, mini storage things. The issue, like what you pointed out, but most people don't think about, is we have to learn all of those different customers and how all those different customers make decisions.
Yes.
It's a crap ton of work.
Yeah. And if you specialize in one trade, then you have, let's say, one company in every city in America, but you know exactly what you're doing because you're specializing in plumbing and HVAC. So and so
that's exactly what we've done.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's plenty of companies out there and I've talked to a lot of them. From what I can tell so far, I mean, you're the most personable. You call us, I mean, pretty regularly to make sure that everything's going well on our end, and anything that you need, you let us know via email or you call us or whatever. I mean, I've never gotten this much communication out of a marketing company.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The communication, it's real. I mean, it's a real big deal for us because whenever we feel like you care about our business, then we're definitely going to care about yours. And we're going to keep on wanting to help you with whatever you need help with. And I think this has been a really good partnership. And we don't always talk about plumbing. We talk about comic books and
TV it's been fun.
Yeah, so it's not all business all the time, and we just kind of enjoy it. We enjoy working with you guys.
Well, yeah, we do too, man. It's been fun to like see, like in just, really a short term, to see some like Google My Business increases on views, on calls, on clicks, on reviews, like all those things pretty quickly started stacking up. Yeah, that's nice. And you're not right now running AdWords. You're not running. We haven't got through all the local services yet.
Yeah, I hate paper leads. So it's so on Home Advisor, I have my Home Advisor account still active, but I only have two things that I go after on Home Advisor: water heater replacement and stoppages. That's it. I don't do any fixture replacement on Home Advisor, nothing. I only market for those two things because they're quick in and out, and they're going to make money on top of whatever the ad spend is.
Right. What are like one or two things that you and Justin are trying to figure out as you grow for this coming year?
Well, we realize that not everybody's going to be a specialist like we are in every aspect of plumbing. So, as we start hiring people, we want to make sure that we put them in positions in which that they will be the most successful. So, as far as how we got our vans set up, we're going to have vans set up for stoppages and drain cleaning and cammering only. So that one van is going to be dedicated to just doing stoppages, drain cleaning, and cammering. And then we're going to have our next van set up, and that's going to be set up just for water softener replacements and water softener installs. And then we're going to have another van set up that's just for water heater replacements and water heater installs. That way, that one person is dedicated to that one job. And if they end up getting slow, then they can always piggyback off of somebody else that's busy.
Right.
But we just want to set people up to be successful. That way they can know their job, know exactly what they need to do, and get it done as quickly as humanly possible and make it look good.
Right.
And it's all about repetition. It's like training. It's training the same punch over and over in boxing. It's like if you train the jab 1,000,000 times, then your jab is just going to be as strong as a normal person's cross. So if you do nothing but water heater installs all the time, then you're going to figure out a way to make it the most time effective as possible.
Yeah. It will help things with like what inventory and tools are on a given van at any point in time.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's another book that I read, gosh, it's been several years now, called Now Know Your Strengths or something like that. Basically, it's a guy named Marcus Buckingham. The whole thing is he talked about, he started off like doing research for Gallup polls, and everyone knows Gallup polls, right?
Yeah.
And he started off doing research on, his assignment was figure out why people get divorced, and here, go talk to all these married people. And so he gets like 3-6 months, I don't remember what it is, into the process of like studying these divorced and happy married people. And he goes, wait, this doesn't make sense. You don't realize why people are divorced by looking at married people, because the opposite of good isn't bad, it's not good, right?
Yes.
So he started looking at this thinking, well, that's weird. And he started looking like just normal offices. And companies would hire like a secretary. And they'd hire the secretary and say, hey, you're really good at typing. So we want to type everything. Awesome. Also file this, do my schedule, do my planning. But what you find out is like that secretary sucks at filing.
Yeah.
She's killer at typing. But they'll send her to all these classes and workshops and seminars. They'll spend thousands of dollars trying to get her better at filing.
Yes.
And she'll never get better.
Yes.
Like just that much.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot more cost effective for a company to go, you know what? Have one person who is a really great typist. Have one person who's really great at dropping in tankless units. Right? Just that's what you do. And don't show people what you suck at.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
never show it.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's an interesting read, it's an interesting book, and it's interesting you guys are kind of applying that almost like intuitively.
Well, I mean, I came up doing a lot, like before I started plumbing. When I was a young kid, I was a martial artist, and then in my early adult years, I was in the military. So everything I've ever done in my entire life is based on repetition. I mean, like when I was boxing, it was like I probably threw 4 million jabs a year. So it's like just learning how to do certain things. Like whenever I first started doing jiu-jitsu, like I learned how to do the arm bar first, and I learned how to do the arm bar well. And then you move on to your next thing. It's like, it's exactly the same in plumbing. Repetition, drillers make killers. Drillers make killers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're focusing on specialists, focusing on doing, so there's all these people like say, like what you would say is like practice makes perfect, but in reality, I would probably say like perfect practice makes perfect.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that was my first Taekwondo instructor back when I was a kid. He used to say, practice does not make perfect because you can practice screwed up all day.
Yep.
He said, perfect practice makes perfect.
Yep.
You're going to throw it perfectly every single time.
Yep.
Even if it takes you 20 seconds to get from point A to point B back to point A, just make sure that you do it perfectly every single time. And then the speed will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like hitting a speed bag. Nobody just walks up and starts banging on a speed bag right away. I mean, you start off, and then you start building up your speed over time. It's the same thing with plumbing. It's the same thing with everything else. If you do things the right way, and you do things the right way over and over and over and over again, you're going to get really good at that one thing.
Yeah, that's good. So for guys watching this, is there any sort of like last parting words of wisdom you'd like to say? Because you've had in just a short time that I've known you.
Yeah.
Like it's been fun to see what you guys have grown to, but.
Yeah, if you're starting out like first day, new business, the first thing I would do is sign up for a home advisor, of course. That's what I always say. Sign up for a home advisor, max it out. Call somebody like Ryan and get them working on your website and everything, because it's going to take about a month or so for them to build your website, and it's worth it. The people that throw the websites together in 5 minutes, they suck. You gotta take your time and build the right website for the right company, and then don't expect to get big fast. I would be a 24-hour company and work 110 hours a week for 5 years, grind it out, be in your van all the time or truck all the time, and just work for what you want. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. Mark Cuban didn't become a billionaire overnight. Just don't take any shortcuts. Don't take any vacations, and don't hire anybody before you're ready to, because at the end of the day, you've got payroll every week, whether they're working or not. I mean,
yeah,
they might be working a little bit, but if you're priced wrong, then you're going to be paying more than you're making.
Yeah,
and
it could really kill you really fast.
Yeah, so just take it slow and work hard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, thanks a ton for taking the time in the middle of your day, and thanks for take two, like the second time of doing this.
Yeah, let's see how it works, man.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to hit record now and keep talking with Robert for a second. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Check these guys out in Austin, because they're going to be big players there and not very long. So awesome. Thanks, man.
6 months and we'll be killing it.
Yes, you will. See you, man.